Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today for a few minutes to think of something greater than ourselves. I don't know if you know this about me, but evidently I think you should. I really love learning about how things work and about strategies and overall pictures. For instance, football. There was a time in my life when I loved learning about defensive strategies and defensive formations in football. Now, why? I don't know, but I kind of like it. And I think that's one reason why I like politics. I know, it's so sad. You're going to say, haven't you had enough of that yet? Some days, yes, but other days, no. And this last week, as we were finishing up everything with the Georgia runoffs, I kept hearing this phrase, message discipline. Have you heard that? So whether they're talking about candidates or about administrations, they talk about message discipline. In other words, first off, making sure that your message is the same, it's consistent all the way along. That one day you're not talking about, I don't know, education reform, and the next day you're talking about infrastructure development. I mean, you can have those times set aside to talk about it, but you have to have a through line of your message that is consistent. And so message discipline comes into it. I thought to myself, that's so true, and it's about churches too. Churches should have message discipline, or individuals about message discipline. And one of the ways for me that shows up is in figuring out, as I've asked you before, but hopefully your answers are different each time. What is it about Jesus that is the good news to you? If we're supposed to be talking about the good news that he brings, or the good news that we are sharing with the world, what's so good about it? What is the very best news? So what is it? What's the good news from Jesus about his life? I mean, some of you might say forgiveness. Somebody else might say salvation. Maybe another person will say, he's a model for my life. Maybe another will say resurrection. Maybe for someone else, the very best news is that he advocates for justice. He empowers us to do that. See what I'm getting at? There are all these messages that could be the very best news, the good news that you want to share, but only you can know what it is. And then when you know it, well, you have to build your life around it, don't we? I mean, really. We have to live it. We have to share it in some way. We have to demonstrate it. If you're talking about politics, then you have to have a consistent message in order to be disciplined. You have to have a consistent message across all of the platforms: social media, print media, your press secretary, the letters that go out to your constituents. They should all be kind of saying the same thing about you, because it's reflecting who you are to the world. The other thing about it is, some of you have heard talk about or heard it named an elevator speech, that you should be able to talk about your business or your project or whatever in 3 minutes or less in the time it would take to ride on an elevator with someone, so you can sell them on your idea or explain something to them. It's kind of that same sort of thing. You should have certain phrases that are meaningful to you. We all need to do that. I know that if I'm honest, I know that I use some phrases maybe too often, but it gets it across to people what I believe, and it's important. Phrases like, put me where you want me and show me what to do. I think if most people hear that and they know me, they know that's part of my message about Jesus. Or phrases like God's in charge, or God alone is Lord of the conscience, that old chestnut of a Reformed tenet of our faith. To God be the glory. Every time that I say those things, it reinforces it to me, and it conveys it to the person I'm speaking with. So that's really important. It's important for us to say these things so that we are reinforced in them, right? And we can only do that if we first know what the message is, and then we become disciplined about sharing it. So your task for this week, should you choose to accept it, is to be thinking about your message. What is it that is the good news that you just can't shut up about? What is it that excites you every time you think about it? What's the good news of Jesus in your life? I mean, if you define yourself, if you claim that you are a Christian, then you are claiming his name, his title, his position to define yourself. You need to know what it is about him that you are willing to align your name with his for. And then develop your message discipline. Okay? Just a little something to think about. Thank you for joining me for this prayerful pause with the pastor. I'm Pastor Deb Swift of South Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York, and the prayerful pause is designed to be a time not just to think of something greater than ourselves, but also to maybe provoke us into growing in our faith. And I think this idea of message discipline and figuring out what it is that is the good news to us, I think that's pretty provocative, and it should probably be different for a bunch of people. And can you give just a pat answer that we all learned in Sunday school, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior? Sure you can, but why would you? Find something that works for you, and if that is what works for you, find language for it that is not rote. Choose language that adequately and accurately speaks from your heart. Okay? That's it for today. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, work on message discipline. All right, everybody. Have a great day. God bless. Take care. Bye for now.